We're going to discuss about the decorator design pattern. This is very popular and this is a structural design pattern, and when we want an object to behave in a different way than its regular norm, then we use decorator design pattern. We just want a runtime behavioral change on a previous object. On that case, decorator design pattern can give us a good solution. You may say that inheritance can also solve a problem. Of course, this problem is solved through inheritance, but as we are expecting the runtime behavioral change, so if you just make a child class object, that time it will be a compile time behavioral change. We will not be attending the runtime behavioral change. So for doing that, decorator design pattern can give us very good solution. We will see this problem and also we will see this solution in the code section coming in this video's later time. Thank you. Let's go to and see the code. In this coding tutorial, we're going to see how a FinTech application which makes a transaction and then we want to change the behavior of that transaction in the runtime. So here I have written the code, which is, at first we are declaring an interface, which is the process. It takes an amount, and this is the previous class, which we may call as basic transaction, which implements the transaction and it processes. So whenever we call this, it processes the money. Now we want to add some logging and also want to add some fraudulent activity check in this runtime processing system. So how we are going to do that using this decorator design pattern? At first, we have to create a decorator, and there we will be adding a constructor, and that constructor will take the interface what we created at the very beginning, so that we can assign the basic transaction object, this object, inside this decorator. For doing that, we are adding this constructor and we are passing this transaction, which is the type of transaction interface. And also inside that process is doing the same thing, the process, but in this case, the thing what we are passing it, and inside that process, this is working. So here is the trick. So this is the decorator. So now we want to add the logging system when a transaction happens. So this is the logging transaction, and also we are extending this, the decorator class what we have just right now created, we're extending it, and we are adding the logging related activities here, which is we are adding the log and we are processing from the superclass. So this is the decorator child what extends our written decorator class, and also added some additional behavior with the object. And here is the fraud detection transaction, which also extends our written decorator class. And in this case, we are adding an option. If the transaction amount is higher than 10,000, then we are alerting the system. Also, we are calling the same super process. So this is the runtime behavioral change for fraud detection, and this is the runtime behavioral change for log writing. And also, this is the decorator, which is handling the entire behavioral change things. So this is the client code. So how we are going to use that? At first, we're going to create a variable which is the basic transaction, as we said earlier, and we will be passing this transaction into logging. If we want to log that transaction, we will just pass it through this. And if we want to add a fraud detection system into that basic transaction, we will just pass it through this decorator child. So let's see, we are processing a $12,000 transaction, and let's see how that works. So as this code is written in TypeScript, so I'm compiling it and then I am just running it with Node.js. So what will it do? It's 12,000, so it will also give a fraud detection alert, and also it will log everything, the amount and the completion, everything. So let's see what happens. So here it is. It's also giving us the alert, which is called this is the runtime behavior, and also the log completed transaction. So this is exactly what we wanted our object to behave during a transaction. It's logging and also it is fraud detecting. So that is how actually decorator design pattern works.